Could everyone please rise? Could everyone please be seated?
Lightning.
It is such a pleasure, such an honor to be standing up here between you two, Alex and Nell. As I look at this audience, it occurs to me that just about everyone I care about is in these seats or right in front of me. I'm so humbled and grateful to be a part of that. We're going to start off the ceremony with a reading from Ben Williams, Alex's older brother. Ben, could you please come up?
This is one of my grandmother's favorite poems on the Kittle side of our family, and she would have loved this day, and she's with us in spirit. When in disgrace with fortune in men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed. Desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy, contented leave. Yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to lark at break of day arising, from sullen earth sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that I scorn to change my state with kings.
Next, we'll have Kat, Nell's sister, come up for a reading from Emily Dickinson.
One sister have I in our house, by Emily Dickinson. One sister have I in our house, and one a hedge away. There's only one recorded, but both belong to me. One came the way that I came, and wore my past year's gown. The other, as a bird her nest, builded our hearts among. She did not sing as we did. It was a different tune, herself to her a music, as bumblebee of June. Today is far from childhood, but up and down the hills, I held her hand the tighter, which shortened all the miles. And still her hum, the years among, deceives the butterfly. Still in her eye the violets lie, moldered this many May. I spilt the dew, but took the morn. I chose this single star from out the wide night's embers, forevermore.
Next, I'd like to invite Nick, Nell's father, Uncle Richard, and Matt for a musical piece.
This is a very old tune. This is probably from Virginia. And in my mind, I'm sort of hearing it on the misty streets of Edinburgh in honor of the newlyweds.
who don't know me, my name is Zach Wenner, and I've known these two for a very long time. Nell I met in pre-K, and Alex I met years later in the 7th grade. They've been two of my closest and dearest friends ever since. Today I'd like to describe what I've seen in these two, what they've meant to me over the years, what they've meant to so many people here, and of course, what they've meant to each other. I'd like to start with Nell. I really only have one clear memory of our preschool days. We had adopted as a class a baby duckling, and we were forbidden to touch it. Nell waits till the teacher turns away, and I watch her with her eyes locked on the back of her teacher's head just go. I remember thinking, whoa. I don't think that surprises anyone here. So much of the Nell I knew then, we see here today. One thing that has changed for many of us is that we don't get to see her as often. Sometimes she's in San Francisco, sometimes here, and sometimes elsewhere. But I think those occasional visits are so telling. You are swept in a hug, seated at a table, and it's just this breathless tangle of laughing and somehow shrieking and story after story. You really don't realize how much you're holding back from the world until everything just pours out in Nell's gaze. For me, for so many people here, and for Alex, your own experiences have never felt so charming and important as when you say them aloud to Nell. Never have you felt so listened to. She's the one you lose at a party and find hours later leaning against some railing, totally cool and content, looking off, and there's something you just can't catch or capture or know. She's the one curled up on a couch when the bedrooms are full, endlessly given, whose career and inspired entrance into social work you know nothing about because she's too darn humble to talk about it. And knowing that, I thought, fine, I will bug all of your friends. So I asked them, what are stories that are just classically Nell? Something that explains who she is and what she's been doing. And what I got was the most confusing, inside joke-laden, context-specific series of anecdotes I've ever heard. I'll give you an example. 3 of Nell's friends said, Zach, you must tell the cone story. It is so Nell. Fine. It's a hot summer night in Washington, D.C. Nell and a crew of her friends have just seen a movie. They can't recall what it was, but they do remember it made them feel rambunctious and that they were hopped up on movie theater soda. They're walking the streets, this crew of NCS girls and Michael Lemons. And Nell passes a cone in the street. And any other day, she would have kept walking, but not today, not tonight. What she does is she runs to this cone and sweeps it up to her arms and looks back and yells, "My cone!" and runs off into the distance. And I kept hearing this pattern of stories that took 40 minutes to explain, were very confusing and weren't really stories in the end. I didn't really get it, but suddenly I realized it's not a series of stories, it's one story. Nell is as central to her friends' identities as the vivid jumbles of memories that comprise so much of who they are. To pull out just one thread, one story, is just nearly impossible. It makes for an amazing friend and exceptionally bad stories. So that was the person that Alex first met, the center of so many people's worlds, an original, or as one friend put it, an Egyptian cat goddess. But who is Alex? As I mentioned earlier, Alex arrived into my life in the 7th grade. I recently had a chance to describe what it was like when the St. Patrick's crew entered St. Albans in our lives that year. and I realized that Alex had a very special role. You see, at that time, we St. Albans boys had a pretty tried and true system. We went to hangouts, and we tried anything we could to get attention. I, for example, wrote poems to literally every NCS girl in this audience. Henry Montalbano was jumping off of roofs and over moving cars for the tiniest scraps of attention. But not Alex. Alex would be off with the St. Patrick kids, maybe out in the backyard. They would have found some dead bird to look at, or invented a game where they kicked each other's shins for no reason. And I thought, fine, good riddance, he's out of the game. But how wrong I was. At the time, we had this social currency where the girls and boys in that grade would very casually sit in each other's laps. And let me tell you, that year, they all wanted Alex's tush. And I know that many of you might think of Alex and Nell as high school sweethearts, but don't think for a second that Nell wasn't casting sexy glances out towards the dead bird party in the backyard. But since those first days, Alex became a part of everyday life for me, for so many sitting here, and for Nell. Over the years, he was the friend weaving through DC summers in an overpacked Mustang, who annoyingly knew every word to every song and played Kanye West Late Registration 2,000 times in 1 year. He was also the quiet leader who, in the husky light of late fall, could step off a football field, stern and sweaty and spent. He's the friend you can always picture walking toward you in flip-flops, a backpack on one shoulder, a sun hat, always with a lightness, a Kerouac bounce. He's a Dharma bum, a traveler with one hand on the throttle, gathering life like a bounty and spilling it fully and forcefully into his writing, both poetry and fiction. He's shirtless and bent over a summer squash with a green pail, and he's playing a Townes Van Zandt riff on a guitar that Nell put into his hands for his 25th birthday. The world is alive for Alex, bustling in every corner. Many of you yesterday mentioned that Alex was a Renaissance man, and that's something that I've admired too. He has so many pursuits and things that he's better at and more masterful in than anybody I know. I know that his family is so proud, his parents and brothers, and I also know that Nell's family has been proud. I've noticed that Nick's dad has taken a particular liking to Alex's bread making. For example, on Alex's Instagram, where he has a robust bread-based following, Nick is a constant commenter. Under a sliced whole wheat pumpkin sourdough, Nick wrote, "Wow, like a surgeon, hashtag first cut is the deacon." Under a bread, coincidentally, that came out shaped sort of like a bunny, he wrote, "Hair today, gone tomorrow." And then finally, when Alex posted a boule bread, which is a round French bread, he wrote, "Looks like somebody bouléed a strike." Alex, signing off like a rock star bowing from the stage, wrote, "Thanks to all my bread lovers, pray emoji." Alex and Nell first kissed in my house the last day of high school. I know that because I was there, pretending to sleep in the corner. Alex told Nell he loved her the next day. They've been willing to take risks and do what was right for each other ever since. In Scotland, where they lived for a summer in a flat overlooking a canal. In San Francisco, where they perched on high streets with tall gardens. And on this farm, where they added Scout to the crew. and next in New York. What's clear is that wherever they wander, their relationship has never been about anything except their partnership. They've shown an unconditional acceptance of each other and an endless ability to love deeply and without pretense. They're even keeled and unassuming, steady for themselves, but also for us, the many people who are comforted and anchored by their partnership. And as many mentioned yesterday, they are as much a unit as they are individuals. I thought one friend put it perfectly. Totally independent, but always in cahoots. I think we all have a sense that every great relationship stretches beyond what we, as friends and family, can see and even what they, as a couple, might be able to name. But I think this is particularly true for Nell and Alex. Their love formed and continued to grow in these unbearably weighty spaces between the details. From what I've seen, and the much greater expanse that I haven't, I can say with certainty that we are witness to a great and a true love. So with that, I will turn it over to Nell and Alex, who've chosen to write their own vows. Now,
Alex, after one of the first times we kissed, you drove me home and blasted Help Me Wanda by the Beach Boys and sang/shrieked along out the window. I remember feeling a combination of embarrassed and charmed and emblematic of why I started loving you until this time. I love your confidence to be completely and wholly yourself. I love you aren't afraid to try new things. Thank you for feeding me sourdough and eggs and eggplant parmesan and showing me books on muses and art. Thank you for opening your nose at me and inspiring me to grow gardens of faith. Thank you for teaching me the importance of shedding everything that isn't essential and holding on to what is. I promise I'll be your mirror and I'll never again show you your favorite. And I promise I'll never be teaching you how to be and never be too many of them and send this to
No. I'm in love with the way you look at the world. With a sense of wonder, a little abandoned, dramatically absurd. You're the most selfless person I know. You always think of others first and ask questions in conversation rather than speak about yourself. I'm so proud of you for pursuing your passion of helping others. I can't wait to see all the good you will do. Everyone you talk to falls in love with you a little. I am who I am because of you. Thank you for teaching me how to be myself, supporting my passions, and forgiving my many shortcomings. I could not be happier to join our lives as a family. Your love is the most important part of my life, and I promise to nurture and protect it forever.
could I please have Pat and Tommy come up with the wedding ring? Now, do you take Alex to be your husband? Do you promise to love and honor him with all that you have and all that you are? Alex, do you take Nell to be your wife? Do you promise to love and honor her with all that you have and all that you are?
I do.
Nell and Alex, by the promises you have made this day to each other and the power vested in me by the Commonwealth of Virginia, I now pronounce you husband and wife.